Hello everyone, Emily here. I hope everyone's happy and healthy today and doing well. I found some of the Echo Tye Dye at Michael's today, and when I went in, they were just putting it on the shelf, and the gentleman said they weren't planning on getting any for a while because of shipments. It took them a while to get it in. So he said I better get everything I need for my project because it was probably going to go fast. It is $9.95 a skein, and then I did have a 20% off on my purchase. So I really just wanted to get this new yarn. It's really soft. It's really thick. You can see it's a little crinkled, and I really like it. And they had, about 9 different colors, and I just decided to get this because it's just so bright and cheery. And it's been so cold here in Des Moines, Iowa. It was -3 degrees this morning. Sometimes you just need something to cheer you up. So this is the color I decided, and I want to make myself a scarf. I think when you're younger, you make stuff for everybody, and I decided I wanted to make something for me. And let's see, find the end of my yarn here. So what I did is I made a slip knot. I have Duck here in the background. He's just enjoying laying on me. And I made a slip knot. Now on the skein it does call for a J hook, which is a size 10. And I decided I wanted to use, let's see, I'm sorry. Yep, it calls for a 9. And I have this hook, which is 15.75 millimeters. It's the big one that I use for my Bernat blanket. And this yarn is pretty chunky, and I don't want my stitches to be too tight. I'm going to make a scarf and I want it to be long. So I'm going to go ahead and make a chain. So you just grab your yarn and bring it through. Grab your yarn and bring it through. There's so much color, and there's not very long of a color. So it seems like I'm not going to have, a long period of color, just short periods of color, which I think is very pretty. My scarf is going to go, my pattern is going up around my neck. I'm hoping I can get it around my neck twice and come down the other side. So I want my chain to be nice and long. You could do an eternity scarf. You don't have to make yours as long as mine. I just think it will be very pretty. I think since the yarn is so thick, it's going to work up really quick too. So I need some more chain. So I went ahead and I chained an even 100. I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to go into that first stitch. Not the one I just completed, but the one right next to it. And I'm going to do a single crochet all the way across. Since this is actually going to be the outside of my scarf, I just want to do a single crochet so that I can have a nice border. It's going to keep it in shape. Single crochet is such a nice simple stitch. When I use this big needle, and I don't think the stitches look too big for this yarn. I'm not pulling it tight, but I do keep my fingers, I keep moving them up to control my yarn a little bit. I like to hold on here so it doesn't pull that stitch out wonky. So I always like to grab a hold of the bottom here and hold that stitch. And then I use this finger kind of just to control my yarn. So I apologize if you can't, I get my fingers in the way a little bit. It's just how I crochet. Everyone's different. And everybody holds their needle a little bit different. I'm here at the end. I'm really happy with all the colors. Now I want to make sure I go in this last hook, this last stitch. You hear paper in the background. We put some wrapping paper on the floor for the cats to play with. And Mr. Meow Meow is down there playing with it. Okay. So pretty. And I can see the stitches I'm going to go into really clear, which I like. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a double crochet. So I'm going to chain 2. And I want my last stitch here to be nice and big because when I come back I'm always going to go in to the top of the chain before I turn. Mine's just nice and long. So I'm going to do a double crochet, and I'm not going to go into this first one here. I'm going to go into the next one. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go into that stitch. You can see it right here, and I'm going to have 2 strands on top. I'm going to bring it through and pull it up just a little bit, and I'm going to grab my yarn, bring it through 2, grab my yarn and bring it through 2. And that's my double crochet. Ooh, that gave it some pretty color, didn't it? So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into my next stitch. You can definitely see it there. I've got 2 strands. I'm going to grab my yarn and bring it through. Grab my yarn, bring it through 2 loops. Grab it and bring it through 2 loops. It's nice and soft and chunky. And I'm just going to do this all the way across. You can see that opening to go into really nice and easy. I'm leaving my stitches really loose, so I don't have a problem going back into them with this big hook. I like it. It's very pretty. So I'm going to continue to do this all the way across, all of my 100 stitches. So I'm here at the end, and I went into this stitch, and now I'm going to go into my last stitch, and I'm going to go make sure that I go under 2 loops. Oops, forgot to yarn over. Yarn over, go through that last loop. And that is my chain right there. So now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to do a different stitch. I can do any stitch I want to. Look at how long it is. My goodness. Okay. So now I've decided I'd like to do the V-stitch. Give it a pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and go into this first stitch here. I'm going to yarn over. Just because I want my first stitch to be a little sturdy, so so the end's nice and firm. So we're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next one we are going to yarn over, and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to do another double crochet in that same stitch. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to skip the next stitch. We're going to yarn over and go into the stitch after that. We're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to chain 1. We're going to do a double crochet in that same stitch, yarn over and bring it through 2 loops, and then yarn over and bring it through the last 2. So that's going to be our pattern all the way across. Boy, look at all these colors. It's just so pretty. I'm going to skip 1, go into the next one. And we're just going to repeat that all the way to the end. Skip 1. skip one. And there we go. And so when you see me wearing my scarf, it's going to be sitting this way. Single crochet, double crochet, and my V-stitch. To make this V-stitch a little bit more prominent, I'm going to probably do the V-stitch in my next round. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the end. And then we'll turn and we'll do the V-stitch going back. So I will meet you. We'll go to the end. So I went to the end and turned around and did another row. And I have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. So I definitely want to skip this opening. I'm going to do 1 double crochet here and 1 in the last stitch. And I'm going to do it at the top of that chain. And I did have to start a second skein. So here's my pattern. Let's see if I can put it down so you can see it better. I have my single crochet, my double crochet, my V-stitch, and another V-stitch. It's going to be sitting like that on me. It goes around my neck. So I really like it. I'm happy with that. So I am going to go ahead. Let's do a different stitch. Make this baby nice and textured. Now, so I don't have very much of this second skein left. So I don't think I'm going to get very many rows left. I have 1 skein left. So I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to do one of my most favorite stitches because we can see all our stitches here. I am going to go ahead and go into this first stitch. I'm going to do a single crochet. And then skip 1, do a single crochet. I believe this is the moss stitch, if I'm correct. I'm going to skip a stitch and go into the next one and do a single crochet. I'm going to skip the next stitch and do a single crochet. And this is my chain 1 spot, so that's a little bit tight, but I'm going to get in there. Going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and go into the next one. These stitches are nice and big. So that's just going to bring it together over here. I really like all these colors. I'm really happy with it. It's It's really soft. And you know, when it was in the skein, it felt soft, but once I started crocheting with it, boy, it's really soft. So I'm going to chain one, skip a stitch and go in the next one. Chain one, skip a stitch and go in the next one. And I think I'm just going to do this stitch for the rest of my scarf. I only have, I don't have too much left of this second skein. And then I have one skein left. So I probably only get maybe 3 more rows. Skip one. So I think I'm just going to do this stitch. All the way. I think doing different stitches, it just gave it a nice texture. Made the colors look a little bit different. I just like it. So I'm going to chain one, skip one, it's that single crochet, go into the next one, chain one, skip a stitch and go into the next one, which is that chain one. And I do want to go through 2 stitches, or 2 loops, excuse me, and just leave the 1 loop on the bottom. Skip one, go into the next one. So like I said, I think I'm going to do this till I'm out of yarn. And then my scarf will be done. I want to wear it tomorrow to my daughter's for lunch. She was with me when I bought the yarn, so I'm sure she'll be real excited to see what I made out of it, because we couldn't choose a color. We chose one color and I put it in my cart, and then I'm like, no, I want a different color, and she chose one and put it in the cart. And I'm like, no, I think I want this other one. So I know she'll want to see how soft and how pretty this came out to be. Skip that one. I do need to get busy and make a couple of blankets for my cats. They have some blankies, but with 6 cats, you need more than just a few. Because I have a little Pomeranian, and he has his beds and his blankies, and the cats are always taking it from him. And of course, cats always think everything belongs to them. He hates it. He gets up to go potty or get a drink of water and comes back and somebody has jumped in his bed. So this week I just threw my Tye blanket on the floor and left it there for a couple of days, and they all congregated and slept on it. It's quite funny. Okay, so I'm going to skip that one and go into this one. It's a little bit tougher going into that chain one, but I want to make sure that I don't miss any stitches, because I do not want it to start leaning one way and not be straight. Skip that one. So I'm going to do this all the way till the end of my scarf, and then I will be back to show you my finished project. Really happy with this and this yarn. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day, and I will be back with pictures when it's done. Thank you. Bye.